All right, it is Friday and not Thursday. It is Friday afternoon, 12:30. It's time for Football Forecast as we welcome in Wayne and Rick. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey,
Good
Dave.
afternoon.
Well, we've got a lot to cover here today. We're coming off a couple days of some really, really good football. A couple games, not so much, but a couple that I thought were really good, especially the nightcap last night, Ole Miss and Georgia. That was a heck of a game. We'll maybe discuss a few of those, at least somewhat of a topic, but here's what we've got for today. This is what we'll cover on our week number 16 of Football Forecast. Who's on your Hall of Fame list? Now, they did announce some of the finalists for 2026 Pro Football's Hall of Fame. We've got a bit of an overreaction or not an overreaction segment, and one that I'm going to sneak in here, guys. Should the NCAA move the college football playoffs up a week? And, of course, we'll get to our Pick Six and our scorecard coming up. But first, I want to start with the Pro Football Hall of Fame finalists. 15 NFL legends were named, including Willie Anderson, Drew Brees, Fitzgerald, Frank Gore, Luke Kuechly, Eli Manning, and Adam Vinatieri, Jason Witten among the few there. Wayne, we know that there should be some. Eli Manning, I think, should be a guy that should be seriously considered. I think Adam Vinatieri is a guy that needs to go in as well. Is there a Hall of Famer that you feel is not in the Hall right now that, what are we waiting for? We need to get that guy in.
Yeah, and you mentioned a name that I don't know if he's going to get into the Hall or not, but when Luke Kuechly was in his prime, he was one of the most fun linebackers to watch. I was never a Carolina fan, but that guy was just unbelievable the way he played. As far as the linemen and things like that, I'm not going to pretend to know what qualifies them, whether it's longevity or what it is that, the number of Pro Bowls they're chosen for. But do you guys know off the top of your head who the top four career running backs are, rushing yards wise, in the history of football? Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton are 1 and 2. Number 4 is Barry Sanders. Frank Gore is number 3, and I
Mm-hmm.
think he gets overlooked so many times. He's exactly 16,000 career rushing yards. I can't see how they can keep him out. But I mentioned this last year, and he was my number 1 pick then, and I'm going to say it again now. I think Adam Vinatieri is the all-time leading scorer in the history of the National Football League. Needs to be in the Hall of Fame, and not just because he's a South Dakota State kicker. When he was in college, and he was born in Yankton, South Dakota, certainly that matters to me as far as South Dakota born and bred. But he played for 24 years. There's only 4 other kickers in the Hall of Fame. George Blanda, I don't know if you guys remember him playing, but I remember him
Sure.
coming off the
Yep.
bench for Daryl LaMonica with the old Oakland Raiders, and then he'd come in and kick a game-winning field goal. Lou Groza, Jan Stenerud, and Morton Anderson. Those are the only 4 kickers in the Hall of Fame. Adam Vinatieri had more big kicks in his career to win playoff games and Super Bowls than any other kicker in football. My number 1 choice is Adam Vinatieri.
Rick, my guy is Steve Smith of the Panthers, and I do believe he played with the Ravens toward the end of his career. He's 8th all-time receiving yards with 14,000 plus, 81 receiving touchdowns, or I should say, and his 81 receiving touchdowns are more than at least 27 other Hall of Famers. When he retired in 2016, Smith was 7th all-purpose yards with 19,180, and he's amassed 100 total touchdowns, regular season and playoffs combined. So my guy would be Steve Smith Sr. Rick?
Steve Smith was also on my short list, and I really love Wayne's Adam Vinatieri. I'm going with someone who has been overlooked for the Hall of Fame vote for so long, but yet he is the first running back in history to go for 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving in the same season. That's Roger Craig. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champ. He led the league in receptions, not just had 1,000 receiving yards at running back. He led the league in receptions in 1985. It's just, that was unheard of at that time, and has only been matched by 2 other people since then. That was Marshall Faulk and Christian McCaffrey did it, and Marshall Faulk's in the Hall of Fame. So I'm shocked he is not in there yet. My number 2 on my list was Reggie Wayne. Number 10 all-time receiving yards. 4 seasons with 100-plus catches. He was a model of durability, played every game over 11 straight seasons. That's like, at wide receiver, that's a Cal Ripken-style streak. It's amazing. So he was my number 2.
Okay. Well, there's all good choices. I feel if I had a way, I would put them all in there. Especially, I do like your pick, Rick. Roger Craig. I remember in the he played what mid '80s through about '93, I think, with San Francisco or something. And yeah, I was not a San Francisco fan, and he was a pain in the butt for a lot of football teams. That's for sure. Let's get to our.
What's holding him out, guys? You know what's holding him out? He ended his
What is it?
career playing for the Vikings, and that's a big minus mark on somebody's record. Yeah, he closed out his career playing for Minnesota.
Okay, that's probably true, Wayne. That's probably okay. We're going to go to overreaction. So let's try to keep our answers short for this segment. Lions Super Bowl window is closed. Rick, is that an overreaction or not an overreaction?
I think it's an overreaction. I mean, losing that much coaching of your coaching staff over 1 year, plus the injuries, is a lot to overcome. I mean, we saw what they were capable of throughout the year. They scored 52 on Chicago and scored 34 or more points in 7 games this season so far. So I think they've got a lot of building blocks, and eventually the coaching is going to gel again. I think next year they're in the hunt. It certainly doesn't work well in their favor that the NFC North is such a strong conference right now, but I think they're definitely going to be in the hunt every year for the next 3-4 years.
Wayne, your thoughts? Super Bowl window, is it closing?
You know, so often if a team gets close, like they were 2 years ago, they had a double-digit lead at halftime in the championship game, and they let that slip away. Last year, they had home field advantage throughout, and they lost in the divisional round. Sometimes when you don't crawl through the window, when the window is open, you're in deep trouble. Now, I would expect, considering that Dan Campbell took over play calling from John Morton midway through the season, that they'll probably be looking for a new offensive coordinator, just a guess. But like Rick touched on, the division is very, very strong, and Chicago's only on the upswing. Green Bay is always Green Bay. And, you know, Detroit got swept by the Vikings this year in their 2 divisional games. So they're not right now, I would think, going into next year, going to be anybody's pick to win that division. So is the window closed? No. Teams can turn things around in a hurry. Just look at New England. Look at some of these teams that go from worst to first. I'm not saying that the Lions are going to be worse next year, but the window isn't closed, but they may have let their best opportunities go by the wayside the last 2 years.
Speaking of the Patriots, Wayne, are they about to start a new dynasty based around Drake May and Mike Vrabel? Is that a overreaction?
I think so. And, you know, you look at just within their division, Josh Allen is 29 years old, so he's got a lot of years left in him. And you look at the quarterbacks, the young, good quarterbacks around the AFC. Drake May is certainly one of them. But you've got Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, not to mention Patrick Mahomes. To say they're going to be a dynasty, they may get their shot at a Super Bowl every now and then, but I don't think they're going to go on a run the way they did in the Tom Brady years. I just think right now the AFC is stacked with really good, mostly young quarterbacks.
And with that AFC East just signing Cam Miller, Rick, could put a kibosh on it too. Rick, what do you say?
Well, I love me some Cam Miller, but
was that big news in Cancun?
yeah. I was all over the video board. You know, I think Wayne's just right. I think that they are a strong team that is a strong combo, Vrabel and May. But I'm just not convinced right now that the team has enough yet to get them to a Super Bowl, much less win multiple and go on a run where they're winning 4 over 10 years or anything like that. So I think we're along the same line of thinking. They obviously they've got the building blocks. They've got a strong record this year, but I just don't see them being able to beat the Allens and stuff like that year after year in order to get over the hump and be champs multiple times.
Rick, do you see that there's going to be an NFL draft lottery coming up in the next 5 years? You're seeing a lot of teams, resting their players, maybe not starting them. This, of course, puts them in a chance to get that number 1 pick. Is this an overreaction or not an overreaction?
No, I think it would be smart. I mean, the league has become a series of overpriced hired guns, and no team right now, because stars change teams from year to year to year. I mean, no team players don't stay long enough at a team to develop that deep-seated hatred, divisional rivalry. The divisional rivalry is amongst the fans. It's not amongst the players really anymore. And so that just makes sense, because these last few weeks of the season, it doesn't seem like a lot of the teams have a lot to play for. We see teams like the Bengals who are, talking about shutting down Burrows with 2-3 weeks left of the season. They say it's because they want to guarantee his health for the next year. But everyone knows that that's talk. That's it's actually because they are trying to basically tank to get a better draft pick and more draft capital for the next year.
And, Wayne, when you look at it this way, you've got some players that have got clauses in their contract. I think JJ's got to get 50 yards or whatever it is to reach 1,000. I'm sure there's so what does that do for them? So what are your thoughts?
Well, Roger Goodell has taken every single opportunity to keep the NFL in the spotlight, even during the off season. I mean, the combine in February is a big deal. It's a 3-day or longer than that television fest on NFL Network. You've got the draft in April. You've got free agency in March. I think it's going to be a television event coming up where they hold the draft lottery. Now, the Las Vegas Raiders really got under people's skin last week. They're playing the Giants. Both teams have 2 wins on the season. The losers got the inside track for the number 1 draft choice. So what do the Raiders do? They put Max Crosby, Brock Bowers, and another 1 or 2 players on IR, and Max Crosby went nuts. He wanted to play. He finished the previous game, as did Bowers, but they decide, you know what, we're going to put these guys on the shelf. And it really raised a lot of eyebrows around the league that the Raiders are tanking. So I wouldn't be surprised if, number 1, to try and get rid of that question as to whether teams are tanking, and number 2, it's a television event that people are going to tune in for just to see who wins the lottery, and they come up with the draft order for the following year. So they'd have to do it before April. So probably sometime after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely. Could be a halftime event at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. No, we got Bad Bunny. We got Bad Bunny this year. Can't have it.
You do have Bad Bunny. We'll make it, instead of a half hour, it's going to be 45 minutes in the half hour, or excuse me, halftime. One real quick one, guys. I want to run this by you because this was a topic all through the weekend of watching football. The CFP, College Football Playoffs, should they begin right after the regular season is over? Wayne, is this an overreaction or not? Now, the playoffs, they'd begin the first weekend of December, where championship currently resides right now, but that doesn't mean eliminating the conference championship games. It means beginning the season 1 week early. Quarterfinals are played a week later. Second Friday and Saturday, December. Semifinals are played a week after that. Third Friday and Saturday, December. The championship game is then on New Year's Day, the holiest of all college football days. So, overreaction or not an overreaction?
And that championship game every single year should be played at the Rose Bowl. It's still the best looking venue. It's a great television event. I love watching the Rose Bowl. I don't care who's playing in it. Almost modeling it after the FCS. You finish your regular season, the next week you get right into the playoffs. I don't know about changing the schedule on that so much as changing the schedule as to when the player portal opens up. It is open today. And there are still, you look at what's going on at Ole Miss right now. Their head coach went to LSU. A bunch of his assistants are now running Ole Miss, but they're supposed to be in Baton Rouge today to start working with Lane Kiffin for LSU. But now what do? They still got more playoff games to play because they need to get out there and get some of these players signed. Right now, college football is a mess in so many different ways. I don't know that changing the schedule of games is going to do much good, but they got to change the portal and when coaches can shuffle back and forth between teams. I think that needs to be rearranged.
Rick, do you like the idea of maybe starting the college season earlier August, I guess a week earlier in August, and then having the playoffs run through December.
No, I think Wayne hit it right on the head. It's not the schedule is lined up great. I mean, we've got these days like the New Year's Day playoff games and stuff like that, where they can maximize the amount of viewership and things like that. I think they've got that stuff hammered out. It's literally just Wayne said some of what affects the quality of your product is due to the player portal and coaches being able to sign with other teams and transfers and things like that. So I think if they can clean some of that up and streamline that so they can get the best possible product on the screen for the viewers, that's where the problem lies right now.
Teams with a lot of weight in the CFP or in NCAA, so your Ohio States would say, listen, we had 25 days off, where, Miami, they had 2 weeks off or whatever it is, right? They got a chance to play. Last week, we had 25 days to sit on our thumbs and try to get going. A lot of teams, that's their excuse.
Go back to add 4 more teams, make it a 16-team playoff. Everybody plays in the first round.
See, and that's what they should do, right? I believe that probably would be the best thing to do instead of giving these teams the week off. So, all right, let's. We won't solve it now, but we will solve our picks. It's time now for a Pick 6 segment. And this big game now, Monday night, Illinois State versus Montana State. Wayne, the FCS National Championship. Montana State, 10.5-point favorite. Do you like the Bobcats in this game?
I do. Well, I think the Bobcats are going to win. I'm a Missouri Valley Conference guy, so I'm hoping that Illinois State can win. The Redbirds are 12-4, and they've put. You think about their playoffs; they barely got in. Then they start in Louisiana with round 1. They win there. Mm-hmm. Then they come way north to Fargo. They win there. Then they go way out west to Davis, California. They win there. Then they come back east to Philadelphia to play Villanova. They win there. Now they get to go back towards the middle of the country again to Tennessee, towards the middle of the country, to take on Montana State. The Bobcats started 0-2. They lost to Oregon, who's now in the Final Four of the FBS, and then they lost at home to South Dakota State. Since then, they've rattled off 13 straight wins. They've got a very good defense, 2 really good running backs. Their quarterback, Justin Lawson, is a Stanford transfer. The guy's run for over 700 yards himself. He's got a 24-3 touchdown to interception ratio. I just think that the Redbirds' luck is going to run out. I hope it's a close game. I hope Illinois State can give them a run, but I've got Montana State winning.
Rick, as Wayne said, Illinois State has proven that they can outplay these teams that are supposed to be better on paper. NDSU, Villanova, as Wayne mentioned. Can the Redbirds secure their first national championship Monday night?
They are red hot. They're the first team history to have 4 road wins in the playoffs. So, but let's not forget, Montana State's on their own hot streak. They've won 13 games in a row after starting the season 0-2. So you take out those first 2 losses, which were against Oregon, who's still alive in the FBS college football playoffs, mm-hmm. South Dakota State, who at the time, they were one of the top 2 to 3 teams in the nation in the FCS. And they average, you take those 2 games out, they're averaging 43 points per game on offense and only 14 points per game on defense. So they have 3 all-conference players on that defense and the Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year in Kay Dowler. The Redbirds are too mistake-prone. They threw 5 picks against in the NDSU game. And Montana State is just too explosive on offense for that to continue for their streak. I'm going with Montana State.
Yeah, I've got the Bobcats. Their high-powered rushing attack will force ISU into a grind all game long. However, MSU has proven to be consistently turning out big run plays and wear defenses down for long drives. And ISU, they're really a blitz-heavy defense, right? I think 61% of their dropbacks are the offensive dropbacks. They're blitzing and bringing pressure. But I like the Bobcats to win their first title since 1984. I think it'll be a lot closer than what people think it's going to be. But I think MSU, Montana State, will win this game. I say it's going to be a 6-point game. All right, Rick, number 17 versus the Ponies out of Southern Methodist University. It's a Holiday Bowl.
SMU lost a chance at the ACC title game against Cal. So, and when they lost that game, they lost their potential berth in the college football playoffs. I think that that was just a few weeks after they upset Miami. I mean, I gotta think they're hungry for redemption. So, they have a big task against QB from Arizona, Noah. Is it Fifita? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I can't pronounce his last name. Yeah,
Big 12 first team all conference QB. And he only has 5 INTs all season, so he's careful with the ball. But SMU's defensive line, just the defensive line, is 24 sacks on the season. So if they can get home, I think that they can force him into some mistakes and turn this game in favor of SMU. I'm going to go with the underdog SMU in this one.
Okay. Wayne, defense for Arizona has held opponents to just under 19 points a game, ranked about 20th nationally. But here's the kicker. SMU has some significant injuries and a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are some opt-outs for this game. And that could affect their defense and their special teams. Given Arizona's strong pass defense and turnover strength, I'm going to take the Wildcats at home, not at home, in this game.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go with SMU. I just look at who Arizona has beaten. They haven't really got a quality win they've lost to Iowa State, BYU in a double overtime game, and also to Houston. And SMU is going to be down some players. You look at this Miami team and how they're playing in the playoffs, and that defensive front for the Hurricanes is just unbelievable. Yet SMU beat them in overtime in November. So I'm going to hitch my wagon to the Mustangs and see whether they can pull out a victory in San Diego tonight.
All right. Well, here we go. Now we turn to I don't know if any of these games are going to be on Saturday, but we've got the big... Two of them? Okay. So we've got the Panthers and the Bucks. Winner take all for the NFC South. Tampa Bay slumping, lost 4 straight, 7 of their last 8 games. Carolina incredibly inconsistent as well, although they alternate wins with losses. They're 5-2 in their last 7. Baker Mayfield, playable, but battling some shoulder issues and also knee issues. Tampa is favored in this game, but Carolina's resilience and turnover advantage, plus the Bucs' poor performance, I'm going to take the Panthers on the road in this game. Give me the Panthers, Wayne.
Got it. You know, before you joined us, Rick and I were talking, and I said, isn't it funny how Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay is going to have to rely on Kirk Cousins? That's because even if Tampa wins tomorrow, they're going to need Atlanta to lose on Sunday for them to get into the playoffs. And because if Atlanta was to win and Tampa was to win, they'd have a 3-way tie. That would put Carolina in because they win the 3-way tie tiebreaker. I also hope that Carolina wins so that we don't have a below 500 team getting into the playoffs. Tampa, if they got in, would be 7, and it would be 8 and 9. And that's just not right. Carolina needs to win this thing to go 9 and 8. They beat Tampa Bay a couple of weeks ago. I too am going to go with Carolina.
Rick, that's a question that we could have for another time. Should they put in the teams with the best records instead of just divisional winners? But first of all, Panthers and Bucks, who do you got in this game?
You know, the Bucs season has been marred by injuries, and I think people are forgetting how dangerous they were early on in the season before those injuries really affected them. So, especially on that O-line. But now they've started to get in their full complement of skill positions back. Tristan Wirfs is back at left tackle. I think this is going to be another example, like we talked about a couple weeks ago in the NFC West, that Big Brother is going to beat up on Little Brother for at least one more year. I'm taking the Bucs at home.
Okay. Wayne, here's another NFC West crown and possibly on tap NFC number 1 seed that's on the line for this game. Both teams are riding 6-game winning streaks. Seattle at 13-3, the 49ers 12-4.
You know, and that's why a couple of weeks ago we were talking about Coach of the Year candidates. That's why I mentioned Kyle Shanahan. With all the injuries that they've sustained and still have on defense, here they are at home with a chance to win the division and also be the top seed. They're underdogs at home, which surprised me a little bit.
Hmm.
But Seattle comes in, they've got a great D against San Francisco's great offense. I think Seattle's got an okay offense. San Francisco does not have a good defense, so I expect a lot of points to be scored here, and it's going to fall into the lap of Sam Darnold. So who do you rather have, Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold? Purdy has proven in big games he can do it. Sam Darnold has not. I'm going to go with San Francisco to win this game.
Okay. Wayne, or excuse me, Rick, San Francisco's won 7 of their last 8 meetings.
Yeah, the 49ers have some banged up players, but the reports are Kittle, Pearsall, Trent Williams are all probably going to play. I know they've made known in the media that they want that first round bye. They want to be able to rest some of their veterans for 2 weeks and have home field throughout the playoffs. They've Kittle has been on his podcast talking about it. But would that even be enough? So they're those guys playing. Their defense, especially the pass rush, without Bosa and their first round draft pick, Michael Williams, out for the season, has not been good. They've been giving up 30 points per game almost the last 3 games. And that includes games without or games against teams that have a 44-year-old quarterback that came straight off their couch after being out for 5 years. And one of the worst teams in football in Tennessee with an interim head coach. I don't think it's going to be enough. The Seahawks have won 6 straight and 10 of their last 11, including big wins against the playoff teams, the Jags, Texans, and Rams. I'm going with the Seahawks.
Rick, I'm with you. I got some concerns over some of the key players. Trent Williams, I think he's out, though, unlikely to play. Kittle, McCaffrey, they're injured. Pearsall listed as questionable. And Seattle appears healthier, might manage the game tempo a little bit better. San Francisco may choose to rest maybe some of the players. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a possibility. That's what I read. But we'll see how. But I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks on the road to win this game. Next, Rick, we've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, up for grabs, the AFC North. Who's going to win this game, Rick?
I'm going with the Ravens, mostly because I can't stand Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think the Steelers are all that good this year. Their most explosive offensive weapon is suspended. TJ Watt, he's a great defensive player, but he's still unlikely to play. He's recovering from that collapsed lung. If he does play, he's going to be limited. They're going to be only putting him in situational downs because I got to figure his lung capacity is not that great after puncturing that lung. The Steelers D is just not good. They're one of the worst pass defenses in the league. They're mid-pack on rush defense. They give up 4.2 yards per carry, which is like 12th or 13th in the league, somewhere around there. I expect a lot of run from King Henry and from their speedster Keaton Mitchell, who also I think should have double-digit carries in this game. He's averaging 5.9 yards carry since he came back from injury. Henry's averaging 5.1 and it's just been a bruiser down the stretch here. I don't think they get cute. This game is in Pittsburgh at night in January. It's supposed to be cold. Impose your will, man. Use your strength against their weakness. Run the ball 40 times and keep their offense off the field. This game should be over in 2.5 hours. 17-7 Ravens.
Yeah, Rodgers is healthy from that wrist injury. TJ Watt is potentially listed as game day, but it doesn't matter. Derrick Henry's dominance has scored 200 yards in recent games, rushed for, I should say, and Steelers struggle to stop the run. Just give it to King Henry. I'd take the Ravens, Wayne.
Well, I'm so sorry, Rick, that you probably are going to miss Aaron Rodgers' final NFL game, because you'll probably be busy with where you're at. But I think this is it for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know how it works, what the Players Association has as far as being able to find players and stuff. And you see a lot of selfish acts on the football field by these players. But DK Metcalf should be suspended for the first 8 games next year by his team for just being an idiot. I mean, he cost his team big time last week against Cleveland. They're throwing to Marquez Valdez-Scantling in the end zone on fades at the end of the Cleveland game to try and win that game, whereas Metcalf would have been the guy they went to. What an idiot to go into the stands and punch a fan. I hope for that reason. I've never been a huge Mike Tomlin fan. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. And DK Metcalf, I hope he never sees the field again this year. I'm pulling for Baltimore, and I'm picking the Ravens to win.
All right, and our final matchup, Detroit Lions versus Chicago Bears. Now, the Bears, 11-5, have clinched the North and are fighting to secure a number 2 seed, home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Now, this Bears team is clearly much different than the Week 2 team that got blown out in D-Town in Week 2. Here are the key factors for Chicago to win: protecting Caleb from that Lions pass rush. Rookie playmakers Luther Burden and Colston Loveland have to become focal points in Chicago's passing attack, and then establishing the run with DeAndre and Kyle is crucial for Chicago to win. I like Chicago to win this game, not only for playoff seeding, but because Ben Johnson wants his pound of flesh. Wayne.
There you go. I don't think Ben Johnson's going to let his team get beat again by Detroit. And that's certainly not the way they did early in the season. With a win, they secure the number 2 spot. The Bears, I don't know how much difference it makes. If they secure the number 2, they'll play Green Bay. If they secure the number 3, it'll either be San Francisco or Seattle or the Rams, depending on how that falls out in the West. I think they're going to really try to get Caleb Williams to the 4,000-yard passing mark. He needs 250 some or something like that, 280. I don't remember what the exact number is. I don't know how much the Bears are going to play their starters. They're injured at wide receiver. I know Burton has had some injury issues, and I don't suppose they're going to be playing their number 1 receiver, the guy from Washington. His name escapes me.
Odunze.
Yeah, there you go. I don't think he'll be playing because they'll come back next week in the playoffs in the first round against somebody at home. Still, I think Ben Johnson's going to say, ain't no way Detroit's beating us, not with the way that the Lions are beat up right now. I'm going to go with Chicago.
All right, Rick.
Yeah, Wayne's right. I don't think that they want to be playing the Rams or the Niners in the second round. So if they make it past the first round, so I think there's a maximum effort there. There's still some meat on the bone. There's something on the line there for them to play for. On the flip side, the Lions also have not had 4 straight winning seasons since 1954, which is what they need in order to, if they're going to win tomorrow, that would make 4 in a row. So there's some pride on the line there. Divisional rivals, the Lions smoked the Bears last matchup, but I think the Bears just need it more, and I think that they're more invested in it right now. Plus, I think the team has really bought into the Ben Johnson thing right now, which I'm not sure that they were when they got blown off by the Lions in week 2 or whatever it was. So I am also going with the Bears.
And guys watching that.
The Bears are ascending. The Bears are ascending. This is a good football team, and they're only going to get better, not only the rest of this year, but moving into next year as well.
And right before we wrap things up, if you were to tell me that we were going to go touchdown for touchdown with San Francisco in that last game that we played against them, I would have told you, I don't think we got it quite yet, but they matched every touchdown. They would score. We scored. They scored. We scored. I thought that was incredible. I thought that was a huge improvement, obviously, over what Chicago. Yeah, it really was. Okay, well, the picks are in. Let's get to the scoreboard right here. Wayne, 57 points. Rick in at 54. And yours truly, J-Man, in at 61. So still a close contest. Got some games here that are different, and we will watch them with very much a lot of interest. Rick, you enjoy wherever you are at. And Wayne, I will see you come Monday.
See you on Monday, Rick. Take care. Safe travels.
Later, guys.
We'll be back
Bye-bye.
regular time next Thursday, guys.
Yep.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye now. 4 minutes after the hour, let's take a break. We'll be back with some of the day's top headlines next.